that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This is how I welcome you to the Voter's Aid on Z 101.9. It's exactly 5 minutes gone past the hour of 7, and it is the very third day of October 2024 in the year of our Lord. Welcome, good people out there. Want to listen to anything that's got to do with lifestyle, leisure, and business? You know that you ain't going anywhere. Your very last stop, SZ 101.9, and it is time for your Voter's Aid. Well, tonight I've got two distinguished personalities to talk to us about election 2024. This program, as we all know, is by the Kufour Scholars Program, and they have decided that in collaboration with the National Commission for Civic Education and the Electoral Commission, they'll bring us tidbits, educational materials, encouragements, and motivations, just so that come the 7th of December 2024, we'll all march to our various electoral centers and go cast our ballots very peaceably and peacefully. And when we're done, we're back home and back to the polling center. When it's all done and the Electoral Commission, the presiding officers are ready to announce. For Ghana to make a forward move, we need to do this and do it peaceably. And that's what the first book of Timothy, chapter number 2, verses 1 and 2 talks about. Good evening once again, and I have with me in the studio Dr. Pascal Brenya, who is the program's manager for the Kufour Scholars Program. Doc, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Anna.
It's good seeing you.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
It's been a little while, isn't it?
Yes, it has been.
Wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. So I'll start with you. I know that you've got this beautiful lady sitting by you, Esther Addo. Did I get it right?
Yes, you
Esther,
did.
how you doing?
Very well.
You
Thank
getting
you.
ready to vote in December of 2024?
Yes, I'm
You're
still
getting ready to
considering.
do that. Considering, we'll
Yes.
come back to look at how that whole process of consideration is going to take place. But let me start off with you, Doc. Voter's Aid was conceived by the Kufour Scholars Program. Can you tell us what the motivation for this whole project, the electoral process, is educating the youth and making sure that come December 2024, the 7th day, everybody is marching to the polling station to go and cast their ballot?
And now one of our very important core values for these young scholars is about patriotism. And then we also believe that patriotism comes into civic leadership. So for them, they sat down on their various campuses, realizing that the number of people who are looking not to vote seems to be quite a lot. So they did a research just to back it up, and the research was alarming. If you look at the number of people at that time, and that is about 2-3 months ago, then we realized that if nothing is done, we're going to lose a number of people, not by death, but those who will not cast their vote, exercise their power in the civic leadership. So with this, they suggested that they want to do something. And I decided to have these with the CEO, Professor Bafo Ajimadua, and I went further to speak to the former President Kufour, and I said, look, this is what they say they want to do.
And they all agreed.
The old man, as a statesman, said, why not? They are part of the nation. They can go ahead and do that. That's why we kickstart this. And they kickstarted this on their various campuses, talking to their peers. Now, it came with a bit of resistance because some of them felt that, oh, look, I'm not too sure about the candidates we have now. So if I don't have a choice, why do I vote? But you are not only voting for presidents, you are voting for parliamentary candidates as well. But whatever happened, somebody have to lead. Now, what was alarming about the research also is that the greater number of the young people in this country, there are many. And these people come together and say, we're voting for this particular person. No amount of stealing or cheating in election can actually change the course of their destiny if what they want. It means that when they come together, they can actually shock everybody. So we said, look, get up, go and cast your vote.
Get up, go cast your vote. And this is what the group of students who make up a critical mass of the people and population of the Republic of Ghana decided that they ought to make their vote count in election 2024. Doc, but before I move on to Esther, you know, you mentioned His Excellency John Ejikun Kufour, and Papa, we want to salute you tonight wherever you are. We hope that you're doing pretty well and all that. You know, a few people have suggested that this is a kind of move to mass up a certain youth, you know, to support the political lineage of His Excellency John Ejikun Kufour. Is this true or false?
Now, you know, the interesting thing about the Kufour Scholars Program is a program that has been running for almost getting into a decade now. And then people have come, people have gone. The success we have chopped. One fundamental question we never ask is, which party do you belong to? We are not partisan at all. We allow individuals, you know, and if you look at the record is there to prove. Me, as a director or coordinator for the program, I sit back and I can tell, because I see sentiment that you probably support this party or that party, but it never come. I'll tell you recently when I did a trip with a Kufour scholar to go to Denver, you know, in the US. We went to visit him and we were saying goodbye. The young lady, Linda Kamensa, had different opinion from the president. The president took almost 15 to 20 minutes to convince Linda why he should vote for his party. And Linda said, Mr. President, I'm not convinced. This conversation went on until we came back from the trip. And he was asking, have you reflected on some of the things I spoke about? We introduced a lot of social intervention, but in addition is the human factor. That is what actually got us to stay in government. Now, it was interesting. So I can tell that anybody thinking like that, the scholars are on their various campuses going around asking people if they want and they would vote. And the answer is no. Majority. Those who say yes, they say go ahead and cast your vote. As long as you vote, that is all what matters.
They do not go asking which colors you're wearing underneath your shirt and stuff like that. You know, they don't go bearing their chest and say, do you see the colors that I wear in here? I was just about asking the kind of research that you did, because your association with Z Multimedia looks quite divine. It looks very, very calculated, because you know that Z is non-partisan.
That's correct.
It stands for the state.
That's correct.
It stands for patriotism.
Yeah.
We want to look at how we can move forward.
Yeah.
So in designing a program that would instill that sense of patriotism in the youth, I think is one excellent thing, and we couldn't have gotten it wrong at that stage. Before I move on to Esther, one last thing I'd like to take from you, Doc, is this, that you're doing this project all by the Kufour Scholars Program, of course in collaboration with Z Multimedia. Who are these other partners that you're working with, and how collaborative, how supportive, how successful has this partnership been so far?
And we've been actually talking to a group of people. I think for now, the NCC is part. We've been to the British Council for them to support this initiative, and then also CDD. Now all of them have come to help. And then National Pension Authority kindly also able to help us and says that you can use this.
The youth versus the pensions authority.
You. And I think they
have a vision coming from?
They have a vision because they realize that in our houses now you might need this Gen Z to even help you to really back up your phones and make sure that if you can see something, they bring it back to folk. So they see the connection that we have served. We are going. You are the one who look at those who are going. But those who are coming, you can't leave them. So to them, we say kudos to them. And I think it was a good one.
Wonderful tune we will find there, because you know this very popular patriotic song, we are going. But these young ones will be singing, we are coming.
That's right.
And that's when I move to Esther tonight. Are you hoping to vote come December 7th?
Yes, I am.
My producer will tell me, ask them, which party are you voting for? So that is my next question.
Well, that is for me to decide. Yes.
You wouldn't tell me?
No.
You wouldn't tell my producer?
No, I'm
you
not
wouldn't tell the
anyone.
listenership out there?
No.
Because that's your secret.
Yes.
Excellent. But Esther, tell me, what motivates you in that kind of consideration process that you're going through such that come December 7, you make a decision to say, for the presidential elections, this is the candidate I'm going for, and for the parliamentary election, that is the candidate I'm going for. What are the considerations, the thought processes? What is it that you go through in making that decision?
Okay, so I look at the long-term gains, as in to look out for the person that is going to bring out policies that is going to help in the long run, not just short-term goals that are just going to benefit us in just few weeks or few years, and then that is it. So, as we all know, some decisions we take affect us in the long run, and that is what I consider when come next January. I'll consider that before voting.
Before voting, we're talking about December, right?
Yeah.
Now, economics students, I know you read economics, right?
Yes, I did.
And the long-run marginal curve, influences the kind of decisions that you make.
Yes,
exactly. Is that part of the considerations that will affect this?
Yes, exactly.
So now, when you talk about long-term policies, what are some of these policies that you're looking at?
Well, the 24-hour economy, yes, it's one of the policies I think is very great because it's going to create jobs for the youth.
Okay.
And I think it's very good.
It's one of them.
Yes, yes.
And the others are?
I think I'm yet to find out more.
You're yet to find out more. But as a student, having come out of school, you're looking forward to your future and what it is that you're going to be doing and your personal contribution to national development and stuff like that. What are some of the things that in the community, in the nation, you would want to look at? Is it about your salaries that you're going to earn? Is it about the taxes you're going to be paying? Is it about access to health? Is it about education? You Gen Zs talk about tech and stuff like that. That is what I know next to nothing about. Well, what are some of these things that you're looking up for when the political parties go out there and sell their manifestos to the people?
So it's all about jobs. If there are no jobs, you don't get salaries.
Okay.
Yes. So the jobs have to come first, then you think about the salaries.
All right.
Yes.
So
that
jobs
is
are
jobs.
very critical.
Yes. And then the health.
And health.
And health.
As well.
Because if you are not healthy, you will not be able to work and you will not gain salary.
Wonderful.
Yes. So
you know that Z talks about lifestyle.
yes.
Talks about leisure and talks about business. Now you've talked about jobs, which
Yes.
falls in business. You're talking about health, which
That's
falls
lifestyle.
in lifestyle.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, what is it about health that you would want to see, improved in your personal life, the family system, the community system, and of course in the nation at large?
I think the hospitals, they have to find ways to accommodate more people.
All right.
I think I worked in a hospital where patients are gathered there and there are no one to attend to them.
Okay.
So I think if they get more facilities, I think it will help in that state.
So health infrastructure
Yes,
is something that
infrastructures.
you'll be looking at.
Yes.
So that we can expand our health infrastructure.
Yes.
And it will not be limited to a Kolebu kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in your community, where do you live, by the way?
Dodowa.
You live in Dodowa.
Yes.
Wonderful. Do you have a good health facility in Dodowa?
Yes, they have one big hospital there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Have you been to that
No.
hospital? You haven't
Personally,
been there yet.
no.
But something you would want to see is a good health system.
Yes.
So that your grandpas, your grandmas, your aunties, your uncles who find themselves in other locations, not in Dodowa, probably in some of the very, very remote communities,
Yes.
can still access health.
Exactly.
Is there one more, thing that we want to look at, a policy that you want, to hear the political parties talk about? You've talked about jobs, excellent. You've talked about health. Anything else?
I think education.
Education.
We should consider making the things we learn in school more practical than theoretical. Because more often than not, you find that you can't apply everything we learn in the real world.
Okay.
Yes, it's more theory than practical. So I think moving forward, we can also look at that aspect and then try to make it more practical for us to be able to know how to apply everything we learn in school to the real world.
Excellent.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that we probably have to look at the kind of curriculum that is presently, being administered in our educational systems.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So you think that we should, at what level should we be looking at? Are we looking at the whole stratum of the educational ladder? Are we looking at basic? Are we looking at secondary? Are we looking at tertiary and stuff like that?
I think this should start from the basic level, because once you get the training from there, it's much easier to build up.
Okay.
Yes. So we should start from the basic level.
Have you perchance had any of the political parties talking about education, maybe at the basic level or something like that?
Not that I know
yet.
of.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. But education is one of the things that you want to consider.
Yes,
I'll
exactly.
come back to you because, Ghana's population is heavily youth laden.
Yes.
And so you are going to be the ones determining the future of this country, and would love to hear. That's why, the Kufour Scholars Program project on Voter's Aid, educating the people on what the rights and responsibilities of the ordinary Ghanaian is. I'll come back to you. I don't know how conversant you are with the constitutional provisions on elections and all that. This is Voter's Aid, so we'll learn. But before that, let me get back to you, Doc. I mean, I think that this conversation is getting more interesting by the hour. And if you look at some of the considerations that the people, particularly the youth, are looking at, it makes it, quite interesting. Do you think that the kind of project that you have taken on yourselves as Kufour Scholars Program in collaboration with the National Commission for Civic Education, of course, powered by Z Multimedia, ZFM, Z Television, the New Finder newspaper, of course, Z Digital, and all the other things that you can talk about. Z is always ready to go with you wherever you want to go, because when you talk about national development, it's all about Z. Voter's Aid, Kufour Scholars Project. How do you think that the kind of project that is being undertaken presently would make the kind of impact that is required, so that when the election period comes, whatever efforts that you have put in today would yield the kind of result that is expected?
It's really going far, and I think it is yielding the results we would like to see. Recently, as recent as a few days ago, somewhere in Galu, one of the Kufour scholars really was one of the radio stations, talking in the language they will understand and trying to let everybody understand that voting is your right. You make a decision through vote.
Doc,
and it's
what
your
my
power.
math Joe and Joe Fain, Z101.9 FM, so no Muriti. And come on, Yerujian Joe Fain, your friend Voter's Aid. Kufour Scholarship Program, now what this program when what they abba na Z and so Taichi, European. Was it about 2 years to a fee or can benson year faswato and yen tokwa a yadwene a yen susui only 1 year tifia maying kofa manso be a mammon tem yerushe ecstasy education a year mumesia ose health apomodene ose jobs Numa minim ni awon so tifia wrodwen ho sabri ameno kase nemum so nya mfa ho adwen ya fiasina fa ho adwen. Doc, we're back to you talking about the collaboration and the expectations of the impact of this project.
Before the project kicked in, some of them will say, I'll go and vote if my father asked me to go and vote. I'm voting for my mother. And that is when we realized that even the younger generation, quite a percentage of them, doesn't really decide on their own who to vote for. But then we said, no, think about it. These policies, if you look at the party's manifesto, and everybody who is standing up for a position, who is actually coming to serve you, you need to have a say. You need to have a say. And that is when some of them came to the realization that, no, I think I need to think about who to vote for. And some said that, yes, we'll vote, but tell us who to vote for. And that's the question that is difficult, because if you're actually asking somebody to tell you who to vote for, then obviously you have not taken a stand. But that is not also too good. So you need to sit to listen as they speak and see what you can actually take and what you think. Esther is talking about the future because the decision today is looking at the youth. And any single person who believes that Ghana is his or hers will not be thinking about running away from this country. Because the energy of looking for a visa to really get yourself out of this country, if that energy comes in for you to sit down and look at the policies, then I strongly believe that the saying goes simple. You might want to do something that will change the course. You want to be part. That is how you become patriotic. So if you even want to travel to go and educate yourself or get some skills and come back to this country, who I always say hallelujah, do so. But if the aim is, I don't care about what happened in Ghana, so I'm not going to vote, whatever happened, Charlie, I'm leaving. And these days, you go to social media and many people outside the country is giving the impression that, look, Ghana, we are dying. Leave the country and come. And people who are there saying, I'm never coming back. I love it over there. But then you sit a moment and say, look, if there's a place for those people you are there with, and they left, would that place be like how it is today for you to want to go and enjoy? So when people say it's not going to work in Africa, I always have a different opinion that it will work.
In fact, my answer is me mang adishimang Ghana.
That's right.
The papa mu, the boni mu, aya
and
na
we want
te.
it.
Ni ayere se yebe pia na ni anka yebe hunu wo abruchi no ye hunu wo ha. Because we can do it irrespective of what our circumstances are. All we need to do is to put our shoulders to the wheel, getting the young people, getting institutions like the Kufour Scholars Program, getting the educational system right, getting our health systems right, getting the right leadership. Doc, you just mentioned something which struck me, that the leaders who are coming to serve, do we have servant leaders in this country?
And we will get there, even though we are not there yet. For some times I sit back and I realize that what we practice as democracy, we've taken it so direct that we have not looking at how we fuse what will benefit us. For you to go into politics, you need to serve the people. But when you come to this country, it seems like we turn it around. And that is the change we would like to see. So it becomes very obvious. You can even mention names, people who are serving their people and people who are, who is the other way around. So most times we always sit back and we say that, look, we need people who will serve their people. Then you listen to them. And that is exactly in your existence. And then you do, and what you cannot do, you tell them. And even in the same community, you can get people who can come together. You mobilize that resources for a change to happen. But once I come there and I tell you that my party is not in government, so even if you voted for me, then why don't you resign then? That excuses goes on all the time, and people get away with it. I'm waiting for my party to come into power. No, you didn't take that community responsibility as an MP, waiting for your party to come to power before you develop. No, that is not right. So again, I just look at it and I'm just saying that the younger people are now looking up to people who will come and serve. Political position and appointment is service. If you have no spirit of service, you have no way getting yourself into politics.
If you have no dreams of serving your people, then you have no business place in being at all in politics.
Nana, before you see,
please go
something that is so very interesting. He said that there are 3 people in this life who need a serious parental care. One of them is children. The children are children. The second one, armed robbers. And the third one, politicians.
You mean armed robbers need parental care?
Children.
You would have to speak to this.
And politicians.
And politicians.
And the question is why? Because they use other people's money.
Children. They use other people's money.
Yes, you give your
the armed robbers.
You give children when your money. They can't think right.
That's fair.
That's fair. They are children.
And you say the armed robbers too.
Yes. Because they take the money, they thief it from people. So when they are using it, they don't care, right?
Okay.
Yes. And politicians who are
politicians
supposed to serve us. So these people need a serious parental care. So if you're a pastor out there, if you're an imam out there, your people who are serving us in politics, sit them down because they need a serious parental care. Yeah,
Wow.
because these people use other people's money.
Wow.
It's our money. Unfortunately, when our money gets into their pocket, they stop thinking. And some arrogance take over. And sometimes, importantly, you realize that these people, they have changed from who they were before now.
It's exactly 30 minutes gone past the hour of 7, and the platform is Z 101.9. It's your lifestyle, it's your leisure, and your business platform. Looking forward to building a nation that will march forward and never look backwards, taking everybody into consideration. A leadership style that will be of service to the people and not one that would lord over them, says Dr. Pascal Brignan, the program's coordinator for Kufour Scholars program that has put this wonderful program, Voter'S, together. And tonight, Dr. Pascal Brignan is right here. He is here, not alone, but with Esther Ado, who's been telling us what the expectations are. Doc, before I get back to Esther, and I see that we probably would have another gentleman joining Esther shortly. See, let's take just a quick peek into the electoral processes, spanning the 32 years of the Fourth Republican process from 1992, and we find ourselves in 2024. I recall when we started this whole process and we're talking about the opaque ballot system, and people were accusing each other of stuffing the ballot boxes. Then came the transparent boxes, and we were still having all kinds of accusations. He said, well, everybody go out there and go and vote with an ID, just so that we cannot impersonate, we cannot impost and stuff like that. Of course, it came up with criticisms again, and then it got to the point where we say, well, before you go vote, your ID card must have a photograph of yours, your own face. So you go stand there, we see you, Fili Gadochi, and then we allow you to vote. Today, we have moved from that, and we're in the biometric, scheme. Would you say that the Fourth Republican process has, experienced a certain positive trajectory, transformation, which is moving the electoral process forward, and which would therefore give us a kind of confidence that December 2024 will see a peaceful, a free, a fair, and a transparent electoral process?
Now we have traveled. If you look at where we started from as a country, we have traveled. The journey is still continuing. New development, new changes, everything that has to go into elections. If you ask the Electoral Commission right now, he said it has been provided. And it's going to be free and fair. But again, you actually see resentment coming from other political parties and said it is not, unless this is check or that is check. I believe that this is a conversation that they need to sit down to have. But my point is this, now this is where it gets tricky. If you look at the two bigger political parties, these are people who knows very well all the lapses in these electoral processes. So you ask a fundamental question. Can somebody cheat in election? Is it possible that my vote will not be counted?
Should I put that question back to you?
No, this is rhetorical. I'm just asking all this simply because if you don't have that shred of doubt, why would you even tell Electoral Commission that, no, we suspend this, we suspend that, we suspend this? I strongly believe that there's something you and I probably don't see. Okay. That this big two political parties knows how to do.
Of course,
we don't know.
The 32 years of our democratic
and the two
process.
of them knows each other very well. In fact, sometimes you think they are twins. So they know very well. So when you are in power, you don't bother too much with the Electoral Commissioner. When you are out of power,
then you become a militant opponent of that. Interesting.
Citizens like us, we get confused about that. Right? And whatever we actually decide on this country, we should remember, even the Electoral Commissioner will cast her vote.
Okay.
You can have a party you support, but nation first. So if we are patriotic, if we are law-abiding citizens, if integrity is something to judge us as a country, all the values that we were told, born, advanced, and protected by our religious body, and if that is what we hold dear, we wouldn't be bothered because we know if I cast my vote will be counted. And I know for sure that is the reason why I'm going to join a queue to cast my vote.
Excellent.
So,
Good evening to you, Madam Jean Mensah, the Electoral Commissioner for the Republic of Ghana. So says Dr. Pascal Brignon tonight. We know that you're an independent arbiter, but we know that come December 7, you will cast your vote. Yeah. But in doing that, know that it is the Republic of Ghana first, and all other things will come second. Well, coming back to you, Esther, I think you've been enjoying the conversation so much.
Yes, I have.
You know, Dr. Pascal is a powerful preacher man too, you know, so when he gets on the stage, you know, he gets, you know, the Spirit takes over him and he's preaching, and if he was in church, the church would say amen.
Man.
And I know you're saying amen too, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, so coming back, I mean, so you're getting ready to go and vote. Your colleagues are going to vote.
Yes.
Are there any apprehensions? Are there things that are stopping you? December 7 is approaching, but as for me, I'm not sure. You know, between here and Dodowa, are there any apprehensions that are catching up with you, that are beginning to take place in your mind to say whether I will go or I will not go? Are there any things like that?
No, I don't think there are.
Not at all?
No.
You're convinced that you will march to the polling station?
From the beginning of the conversation, I didn't think I was ready, but from what I'm hearing from Dr. Pascal, I think I'm fully prepared now.
You are a converted disciple and you are an apostle right now.
Yes.
What it means is that before we finish, you will tell me which party you are going to vote for.
No, I'm still not going to tell you that.
That one you won't tell me.
Exactly.
But at least you've made the decision that
yes,
you will
I have.
vote.
Yes.
Now, what are the other messages that you think you would have to take out there to your colleagues, your siblings, your family people, your friends on campus? That, hey, I did not know. I heard about the registration process. I probably went to register. When they said we should go check, I went and I did. But hey, colleagues, it is now time for us to know that definitely we will go and vote. What will be the message that you will be taking out there?
Okay. So what I would like to take to my colleagues, that whether we decide to vote or not, the decisions that are going to be made is going to affect all of us. Right. So going forward, I think we have to all cast our votes so that when things are going bad or things are going good, we can boldly say I was part of this election.
Wow. Yes. You have to be a part of the decision-making process, whether good or bad. But if you were given the opportunity to choose one, would you go for good or you'd go for...
I'll definitely go for good.
You'd go for good?
Yes.
So then your message would have to be that we have to make it good, isn't it?
Yes.
But then what are the processes that would influence this good electoral process? Just one more, and then I'll move to your male colleague who has just joined us.
Can you repeat the question?
What are the thought processes that would influence that positive or good decision-making process for the election come December 2024? The positive action. What are some of the good things that you want to consider?
I think we have to fully research on the policies that this candidates are going to implement when they are voted into power. I think that is going to help us to make well-informed decisions. Yes, so I think that is that.
Wonderful. So it's all about positivity, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, we've been joined in the studios and it's just about 40 minutes gone past the hour of 7. And we've been joined in the studios by Samuel Osei Danso, who is a Kufour Scholar Program alumnus. And he is now serving with PwC. Sammy, most welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you too?
I'm great. You can see
awesome.
The way I'm filled with all the energy talking to you tonight. I know that you spend the major part of your day at PwC contributing something to Ghana. Do you want to share your day's experience with us before we start talking about Voter'S?
It was normal morning, and then going to work, we realized that the protesters had started gathering at University of Ghana, Bungalow.
Okay.
So we saw the police over there.
And you felt like joining them?
At that morning, I didn't have the luxury of time. But then we are all joining in hands on our social media handles and to call for accountability and good governance, and especially taking, restoring our water bodies in the country.
Excellent. Accountability and making sure that good governance works and all that. Enough of it, but we'll be talking about, you know, the luxury of time and going out there to demonstrate, and your bosses at PwC, the kind of things that we're expecting of you. But now let's talk about the Voter's Aid Program, which is initiated by your own group, the Kufour Scholars Program. How would you say this program is impacting the youth of the Republic of Ghana?
Well, for young people like us, I think a lot of us were showing apathy towards the upcoming elections, and not because we would find it time wasting or anything, but as the results we would get after going to vote, how we would hold our leaders accountable, because you would just vote once every 4 years. They come, and when things are going wrong, you might call out on social media, draw attention, and things are not going to be done. And we say, why should I just, maybe I don't even have my polling station in Accra here, just pick a car, go to maybe Central Region, Eastern Region to just cast my vote and then come back, and things don't change. And it's painful. I voted in the last elections, and it's painful to see those things. So let me just sit back and say that I didn't participate well.
Interesting. So
by binds all of us.
What you meaning tonight is that you were expecting that once you voted, you know, for, let's say, a good taxation, you know, regime and all that, and it was not going well, you just go and stand in front of the headmaster and say, Mr. Headmaster, can you review your tax policy and stuff? Was that kind of thing that you guys were expecting?
Well, if I'm allowed on this platform, for this particular administration, personally, I had a lot of expectations from them. And looking at it now, I would say that for my mark, they didn't meet up to that expectation.
They didn't meet up to that expectation.
Especially the president saying some time back that I would put my presidency on the line to fight Galamsey, and here we are, protests going on and on and on.
Well, that's a subject that we probably would be looking at in detail at the right time. You don't think that enough has been done in the fight against Galamsey? I'm sure definitely the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources will probably disagree very respectfully with you, because they probably think that they've done a lot of things. But why not? I mean, that is what democracy is all about. You know, it's about what the people think and the way they want to mobilize themselves and stuff like that. But one significant thing, the point you make, is that now you have decided that you are going to go and vote. Is that right?
Yeah, we are going to vote.
And what is the motivation for this?
We all have to be involved. It is our land. You cannot sit back and show apathy. Now, if we are saying things are not right, who does the onus lie on to go and change the status that we are? It's on us. It's on us to assess what they are saying and choose the right person we think that is going to change our course in the next 4 years.
Excellent.
So so that's our message. Excellent. If things are not right, let's all go out there and vote for change. If we feel that things are right, let's go out there and vote for it to continue. So you can't sit back.
Excellent. If the things are right, let's go and endorse it. If they don't look that right in our eyes, let's use this legitimate means, you know, to go and express ourselves to our dear nation, Ghana. So says Samuel, or say Danso, and it's exactly 44 minutes gone past the hour of 7. You're listening to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. And tonight we're talking about Voter's Aid, educating the populace, especially the youth, on what it takes to go and vote. Now, Samuel, before I move to Esther and finally to Doctor, there's been this talk about, you know, winning power at all cost, and it gets to the point where violence begins to creep into our electoral process. What is your opinion, and what is the Kufour scholars doing about educating the populace about how to conduct ourselves during the process of voting?
Well, I would say that the process of elections, it has started already. Political parties are actively campaigning and defending our policies here and there. When you look at organizations like the Media Foundation for West Africa, monitoring several channels across the country to, assess the language that we use out there. So it is part of our mandate to also entreat our colleagues that in as much as we defend our parties, in as much as we are carrying our party's messages out there, we should show some decorum in carrying out these messages and not attack personalities, not attack institutions, but discuss the issues that will bring about development, like discourse, not attacking individuals. So they all start in our conversations and the fight goes up here and there. So in our social media posts, in our discussions, in our areas, we continue to urge them that we show some kind of regard and show the decorum as Ghanaians as we are in our political debates on air, on our social media handles, and in our households. And that would lead to a smooth discussion. These offensive statements will just bring about grudges, and that would actually lead to the heat that comes on the election day. It doesn't just start from the election day. So I think that it starts from now, from our discussions that we are having.
Decency.
Yes, decency.
Decorum. Civility is what you're talking about.
Very much.
And these are the messages that we're taking out there to our people. You guys have gone to school. Kufour scholars, you've done, your basic, secondary, you've done your tertiary and stuff like that. Some of your colleagues who have not had the opportunity to sit in the lecture room, to appreciate all these points about civility and decorum and decency and all that, sometimes have different perceptions about how to go about it. Do you think that poses a certain danger, a potential danger to the upcoming elections? And if it does, is there any message you want to send out there to some of these, our brothers and sisters who sometimes think that it is all about win? I call it do or die.
I would say you can never say never. In our local parlance, you say,
no smoke without fire.
Yeah. So you cannot say that we are the fact that we call ourselves peaceful, we can go out there and say whatever we want to say and expect a miracle on the election day that, everybody is calm. Excellent. We are starting from this moment. Okay. Those countries that had experienced civil wars and violence during elections, who would have thought that they would have gotten to that?
We're no different. This is the point you're making. Well, and so we've got to take.
It's a deliberate action that we are calling for now. That in our political discussions now, let's be conscious about decorum. Let's be conscious about civility, and that would, contribute to smooth running elections.
Excellent. Good point is that after all, even if your political grouping did not make it to the presidency or did not make it to the constituency or parliament where we are having the representation in parliament, at least, at most, 4 years' time, you have the opportunity to redo it and to rethink it again. And so we do not need to go out there and think that this is our last. It started 32 years ago, at least in the Fourth Republic. And here we are. 2028 will come. It is a matter of sharing our ideas. This is what Samuel says to the listening public on Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. Esther, you have heard your brother what he has said. What is your message to the people out there preparing themselves to go? Sometimes you see siblings from the same home wearing two different, political, party colors and stuff like that. And once they get out there, they're ready to get at each other's throat. And yet they belong to the same stem, the same stock, same family, in fact, same community. And at the end of the day, that single country, dear beloved nation of ours. What's your message to the people?
So just like my brother said, a peaceful election is what we are all seeking out to find. So I think just like he said, we have to be decent, we have to be civilized. So regardless of your political affiliation, I think you just have to let peace reign.
Let peace reign. Yes. Because Adesheman Ghana will stay forever and ever.
This is our country.
This is our country.
There's nowhere to go.
You mean if I offered you a scholarship to go to Hungary, you will not take it? Is that what you're saying? To further my education, I will. I'll take the offer. Yes. And then when you are done, you come back to Ghana. Yes. And so the people who are going to vote with us should make sure that our country is left in one whole piece, so you can go study out there
and come back
yes. and continue with the process.
Yes,
isn't
exactly.
It? Wonderful, Doc. Well, we've got just about 9 minutes to go, and I think that some very, very, very healthy statements has come from your scholars. This tells us how well you have trained these young men over there. I don't know, was it 3 or 4 years that you put them together as scholars looking forward, to a certain patriotic country of ours. Since we get into the dying embers of today's show, is the 3rd of October, we've got just about 65 days to go for the polls in Ghana. Are there any messages that you have for the people? I will come to the evaluation of the impact of your project, but I want to know, what is your message to the people out there listening to you?
Then I will say that one vote makes a difference. The story is there. We can actually do the role. And then we notice that what even decided for American to speak English instead of German was just one vote. Wow. Now, your vote, as insignificant as you think it is, can make a difference. And I have said it, no matter how little cheating here and there, that will happen on the 7th of December. If the younger people in this country, who are large in their numbers, decide to cast their vote, no stealing can even change their destiny.
Excellent.
And that is what they must vote.
Excellent.
But we need to also understand quickly that just as Christmas come and Christmas go, some Christmas is a good time, some Christmas is a bad time. Some Christmas you really have all the means to be able to enjoy. Sometimes you pass by and hear other people play music and you dance to that music, though you didn't even pay electricity for it.
Okay.
Now, what I would normally say
Look,
to
you mean
them,
you've been
come in there.
dancing,
Christmas is there, party is going on.
You've been enjoying free electricity music during
we are
Christmas.
generous enough that even if we don't have money, when it's Christmas and the smile on people, you can walk in that.
You want us to translate this to 7th December.
7th and after 7th. Some will smile, some will not be too happy.
Excellent.
But look, elections will come, elections will go. Ghana will stay.
Ghana will stay.
And we need to understand that right. That, look, if you look at the rhetoric that is going on, everybody wants to win. But at the end, it will be one party, one president, a lot of ministers, whether it is actually majority or minority, whatever the formation will be. But we are just watching and it will happen.
Wow.
For us as citizens, we will cast our vote. We will watch the process. We will make sure that nobody 10-6 to 9. Vigilant. But it is also intentional. So we are not preaching for people to just go and vote.
Okay.
But we say peaceful elections.
Okay.
So before election, during and after, this is what we encourage the young people. Let nobody use you.
Okay.
Because there's no point for your party to win power.
Okay.
And the next day you are not part of the roll call. What is the essence of that?
What is the essence of that?
It doesn't make any sense at all.
If you gain the whole world,
you are younger,
and lost your
you
soul.
have the future. Until death, you can wait and see the transformation that will happen in your life, only if you are alive.
Okay.
And that is why we need to have that one voice. We are going to vote. They are young. They are many. And they can change the course of the nation and choose who they want. But whether it goes into the way they voted for or not, they know they have exercised their civic leadership and responsibility. And among other things, they believe that this country, it belongs to the young people. And for them, they are taking a stand.
Wonderful. Doc, where are you going to vote? Because I can see that there will be Moswo, and I'd love to come join you, whether it goes right or it goes to the left, so we can dance, because we will not be, you've told me, we'll not be paying anything for the electricity, whether the tariffs are increased or not. At least that evening we'll dance to it. Where are you voting?
And I tell you, I make it so very happy. In my neighborhood, I see cars with music passing by, and it'll be NDC. I will see MPP. I dance to whoever comes.
You dance to all of them?
And when I go and stand there, I know who I'm voting for.
Excellent.
But what is the essence of really making sure I give you some kind of looks and decide that this is... And sometimes they can be tell, this house here, he vote for this one, this house he vote for that one. I think that thing have to stop.
We have to
We
begin to
vote for
close
somebody.
our eyes to that.
We will vote for somebody.
You mean
But
I will
is-
vote for one party?
No, you will vote for somebody.
You know the party
I don't
I'll
know
vote
whether
for.
I will add to yours or I will cancel yours.
So, you know the party.
So that is that's the beauty of it.
Excellent.
Now you see, the interesting thing is that when we go and cast our vote and we come back, next time the three of us are dance, all of us sitting out here, and then you say, oh, you know, they won. Is that how you say we won?
Yes.
Or they won? You say, did you vote for them? Even though you say we have won, did you vote for them? You say, no, maybe I didn't.
It's difficult to tell.
Exactly.
Because
So
my
that
vote
is
is
a-
my secret.
That is why
I don't need to
there's
tell
no
you.
fight.
There shouldn't
They
be
shouldn't
any
at
fight.
all. They shouldn't at all. I know parents who would tell their wards or children to go and vote for this particular party, but when they go and stand in the pool,
They decide
Exactly.
otherwise, because that decision
Exactly.
emanates from
you
them
can't even
themselves.
force people for that.
And that is why the followers of the political parties,
Need to learn.
A, B, C,
Yes.
D, E, up to Z,
Yes.
you've got to take it easy,
Yeah.
because 7th December will come,
And it will go.
it will go.
Yes.
Even if
Yes.
there is the need for a second round, it will
will
still
happen.
come,
And
and
then
it
we
will
will do.
go, and
Yeah.
the Republic of Ghana will
Yeah.
be here.
We're not traveling.
I
anywhere now.
definitely
Other
will be
people are traveling
looking
thinking that something
for-
is going to happen. I tell them nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen.
We will stay here.
In fact, I
We
will
will
come
vote.
close to your
Let's
community, because I know Moswo Bekoso,
Oh, yes.
and I love to dance with you.
Yes,
I don't know whether Esther is joining me.
I will.
You will.
Excellent.
Excellent.
What's
Excellent.
interesting is that all the political parties will be jubilating even before the counting. So that's the beauty about
That's
Ghanaians.
the beauty of
We have won, and everybody will say we have won. We have won
Wow.
even before electoral commission comes.
Wow.
But when he
Wow.
actually dare speak,
Wow.
then we decide who have won.
Well,
And I have jubilated already. So we never won. If I have actually been for 1 year or there, it's the beauty of Ghana and democracy.
and that is how, with your support and great listenership out there, good people of the Republic of Ghana, listening to us live on Z101.9, where lifestyle, leisure, and business reigns. It's just 2 minutes to the top of the hour, and we're bringing the curtains down tonight. Dr. Pascal Brinya, the program coordinator for the Kufour Scholars Program, is being the lead spokesperson for tonight on Voter's 8. The message is very simple. Time will come, it will go. Ghana will be together. Do not take the law into your own hands, because that will be against the state. I have also been speaking with Esther Addo, who also happens to be a team member campaigning for peace, but of course telling every youth out there, every Ghanaian first and foremost, but of course the youth, go and exercise your franchise, because together we make Ghana a whole. Last but not least was Samuel Osei Danso, a Kufour Scholars Program alumnus who works with PwC today, and he says that, well, you want to make up your mind, just do it with yourself, but make sure that at the end of the day, the exercise is peaceful. I want to thank you for sticking and staying with me, because God willing, we'll be right back here next 2 weeks, and it will be a Thursday evening just like this. And you will find Nana Safo Kantanka right behind the microphone talking about Voter's Aid. And I end right from where I started. And it is taken from the first book of Timothy, and it is chapter number 2, and it's verses 1 and 2. I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and those in authority, and I will include those with the political parties, that we may live peacefully, and we will live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and in holiness. I thank you for sticking and staying with Z101.9 FM. Nana Safo Kantaka. God willing, 2 weeks next time, we'll be right back here. Stick and stay with Z, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
Z101.9 FM. Z101.9 FM.
Asampaetia Obayansa Fusu